Hello, everybody, and welcome to a semi-new, interesting idea I had for the ROC in my article writing that I've been doing the last several weeks. I figured that trying out a video format might be something that people are interested in, so what I'm going to do is have a guest on where we, instead of just, talk like a regular podcast, we're going to be doing something at the same time. My original plan was to play a game of HeroClix, but as we all know, sometimes HeroClix can be a little bit more complicated. We've got things that are going on, and it's hard to have an actual conversation. So what I decided to do was go with the game of chess instead. So we're going to go ahead and play a game of chess. Who I have on the horn tonight is going to be a friend of mine, traveling companion, and all-around great guy. We have Kalder Ness of Dial H for HeroClix's. Calder's been a host on the show now for a little while, and we're going to kind of pick his brain, get some information on what he kind of focuses on with his podcast, what he focuses on in the game of HeroClix and other things, and go from there. So I'm going to give Calder the benefit of having the white pieces since he is
let me go first. All right, okay.
Absolutely, since he's the guest here. I do not claim to be a wizard at chess. I lose almost every game I play, so don't
get ready to win. Yeah.
We'll see. So Calder, thank you for stopping by and having a conversation with me. It's great to be able to do this in person since you live so close.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for asking me to be on, man.
Not a problem. So with Dial H, how long have you? And feel free to start whenever you're ready.
Let's go.
But
first piece. Yeah.
How long have you been doing Dial H officially?
So I started in late 2017. It was like August or whenever that state tournament was. It was like that night I started recording. So almost 2 years now.
2017, was that the year that I won with Jakeem?
Yes, that was Jakeem Thunder Goblin King build.
Yep.
And I was like, I hope I don't have to play that guy.
Okay. Yep, because Calder, like I said, is a local at our venue, Rainbow Comics, Cards, and Collectibles in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And I have been playing locally with him now for a couple of years, and he's been traveling with us to events and that sort of thing. So why'd you decide to start doing Dial H?
They were looking for a listener guest on, and they wanted someone who was a long-time listener to the podcast, and I listened for a really long time, so I said, hey guys, I would love to do it. I do have a state tournament to go to, so hopefully I won't be too late to the show. And yeah, I rushed home. I drove home super fast, and then I was just on the show, and they liked me enough. They're like, hey, do you want to be on another one? And I said, yeah, absolutely, if you'll have me. And then I started, here we go. Look at that. So now you gotta remember how the night moves. Okay. Yeah, that should be all right. Because, and they liked me enough, so I was on the second episode, and then the third one, and then I was like, I think I'm just gonna be on this podcast, I guess. And then it took it home from there, which is awesome.
Well, that's fortunate. I mean, it's not every day that you hear about people being able to just kind of, go through and just join randomly. Usually it's a little bit more than that, but at the same time, from what I understand from a lot of podcasters that I've talked to, that's actually with HeroClix, that's kind of how it just goes. People really end up just kind of, hey, we're missing a host, we need somebody, will you join us? And when that sort of thing happens, you kind of just start, and if it works, it works, and you don't know until you know.
Yeah.
Is the kind of thing that I've found, at least.
I realized my mistake as soon as I did that, too.
Well, sometimes you just got to take the bait when it's given.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was even supposed to be bait. I think you might have just blundered there, but I'm up 3 pieces now, so maybe.
Yeah, no.
Because here's the problem, because now I get to do this, and you are down 4 pieces, and I don't care about giving up a knight at that point.
Right.
Now, absolutely. I mean, take the knight.
Yeah.
Actually, you didn't have to, just because you weren't in check. But
that's true.
The thing I've noticed when I try and play HeroClix matches is that I try and have conversations a lot of times, and people just aren't having it. One reason or another, they're trying to focus on the game, or they're trying to figure out, a strategy, that sort of thing. So I figured chess would be a little bit better, and it's just a casual game too. If people don't like chess, we can always move to Clicks games in the future.
That's true.
Most people are going to have to be recorded online, whereas this is just in person. So this is actually a game played on my phone, which is kind of nice. But okay, so Dial H, you've been doing that for about 2 years then. Was it just Chris the whole time, or did you have another co-host that was...
So when we started, the last of what Chris likes to refer to them as the old guard, Hunter, Austin, and Drew was still on the podcast. So for about 2 episodes, and it was Drew who was like, I really like this guy. He really is hitting it off. So it was me, Chris, and Drew for about like 2 or 3 episodes, and then this is when all the rules were getting changed, and Drew was like, this is a pretty good time just to leave HeroClix. Is like what he thought in his mind, and I was like, okay, that's fine. So he, having found someone he thought was good enough to be a co-host, to take his stead and to help Chris with the podcast, I think that's when he felt comfortable leaving, and then it was me and Chris from then on out.
Sure, so. Absolutely. Well, I mean, everybody's got their own, hurdles and things that they gotta deal with. So, sometimes when people leave, it's not necessarily for any right or wrong reason. It's just how they feel about life, the universe, and how everything is going. So I'm sure Chris was happy to have you on, just to have somebody there to be a support to him. That way he doesn't have to do it himself. What would you say has been the biggest hurdle in running or co-hosting or hosting a podcast?
It was definitely kind of jarring. Like now, all of a sudden, every single Sunday night, this is what I need to do. I need to start planning for it, scheduling for it. I need to start getting better equipment for it.
Sure.
Before it was just like whatever PS4 headphones hooked up to my laptop or whatever I had.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I just decided that I need to start actually doing it as professional as possible. We're not Joe Rogan or something who's gonna have a million super expensive microphones, but I at least need to have good quality equipment in order to make a good quality show, in my opinion.
Sure, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, I'm noticing that right now when I did a brief test before this, there's a good chance this audio will have a bunch of feedback on it, and I hope it doesn't, but if it does, then I guess I'll just have to deal with it for the time being until we fix something. Doing it on my phone versus doing it over the computer, there's a difference in that respect. But I think quality is something that many podcasters and players are getting better at producing, and that's just something that comes with time. The advent of the Facebook, if you will. People, I don't know why you just gave that to me for free.
There's totally a plan. There's
there?
not a plan. No. Oh boy.
But no, people having ready information and doing things better in order to stay competitive, in order to stay relevant, I think is really important. So putting forth that effort to make, we'll say, something of yourself, I think is a really wise decision. What about let's say the greatest blessing or the greatest joy that you've gotten? What is something that that you've done with the podcast that you just felt has really been awesome, that you're happy that you get to do?
I've had to meet, a privilege to meet and experience all sorts of new players that I would have never talked to in a million years. I love having guests on more than anything else in the world. That's always fun. When you figure out why people play HeroClix differently and why they decide to do it, and also how they get into the game, why they like the game, is so different than how I got into it, why I like it, all these reasons. It's crazy to see how one game can have such a diverse amount of people in it.
Sure.
It's crazy how different everyone is, and I love going to events and stuff like that as well. So that's what I'm really grateful for the podcast. Another one is I really enjoy public speaking. I've done it a lot, so it gives me a really cool platform to do that with. And if people are for some reason enjoying what I have to say, then I'm then awesome. Because I used to be the guy who just downloaded a million HeroClix podcasts and just listened to them all the time because he didn't play. And now that I get to be the guy that they get to listen to all the time, if they can't play or if they're just going to work or just killing time or whatever, then that's just really awesome. So I'm like always eternally thankful for stuff like that.
Sure, absolutely. I think I can agree with that. You know, I'm obviously not on a podcast of any kind. Is it my move?
I think it's your move, yeah.
You can't move him because it's
right.
straightforward. Yeah,
Makes sense.
It is your move. I think that has definitely been the number one thing that myself and you know, traveling companions and everything have agreed upon, that having the meeting the people, the fellowship with people has been really solid. Yeah, you're just giving this one to me.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It's been a minute.
That's okay. No, that's all right. Like I said, it's not. This is just give us something to do while we're talking, get your brain moving, and we can play more than one game, obviously.
Yeah,
too,
please.
So. But you know, my first big event was Rocktober. You can't move him because you're in check.
Okay,
otherwise.
I see.
Yep.
Oh, gotcha. Yep.
Rocktober 2016, at meeting, you know, just like hundreds of new people and getting to kind of, like you said, see different motivations, see what people really enjoy and what makes them tick, if you will, has been really cool. I can totally agree with that. Your podcast is primarily focused on the casual versus like not necessarily the competitive, correct? I mean, I shouldn't say focused, but you don't necessarily get super gung ho into competitive land as much as maybe say some other ones like Critical Clicks or Clicked Off.
Yeah, and like the reason we do is because, like you said, you can pretty much name a lot of podcasts that just focus on the competitive side of things. And I would say it's like the majority of HeroClix's podcasts nowadays. So a casual, if you will, podcast, people that just kind of talk about, you know, the joy of the game, stuff like that, what you think is fun, what you want to play, etc., why you think this piece is thematic, whether you want to talk about how awesome whatever that Coulson is just because he's super fun to play, or like whatever you want it to be. Like that's what I really dig. So sure. I really do the competitive side as well, and I would talk more about it. But honestly, we normally have a lot of talk about normally, and Chris himself doesn't do like any competitive play at all. So I'm always totally okay with just talking about why I think this Captain America embodies the Earth X story or like whatever. So and I'll go off for a long time about stuff like that. So I really enjoy we're comic fans. It's a comic book based kind of game. It's superheroes and everything. I'm stalling so I can figure out what to do on my turn. And then yeah, so I enjoy the casual side of it because there's not a lot of casual content creators out there for people that just sort of just play the game weekly and stuff like that. So I feel like this gives them an avenue, you know, if they're not like trying to be listen, oh, what's the latest strategy, what's the latest whatever, but like I just want to hear why some person has decided that Miss Marvel Kamala Khan needs to be run at full dial and how fun and wacky that's going to be. So like that's the stuff I really enjoy.
Sure. And I think it's no secret that you're a big Captain America fan.
Huge.
I mean, that's kind of your thing, your shtick, if you will. What about Cap gives you excitement, if you will? What about Cap makes you, you know, rearing and ready to play HeroClix? I know we had a conversation this weekend briefly about the new Cap set that comes out in February 2020, and you had talked about how you were just wanting to run Cap-based events. You want to have, you know, every figure you can get your hands on. I know you try and collect every Captain America ever made. You have tons of Cap comics. You're a Captain America cosplayer. You're going to be cosplaying with at Gen Con with Cap. I know you said. What about Cap that is just that does it for you?
So it's kind of the whole like childhood nostalgia thing as well. It's like that was the first comic book I ever had, was a Captain America comic book. It was some dumb Marvel Adventures, whatever. But like after reading it, I was like, this is like a really cool person. Like how do I relate to Captain America like at all? I don't know. But when I saw him, I was like, now that's a superhero. Like in my mind, I was like, now that's somebody who is just like doing the right thing, and he's got values, and he knows what he's about, And like it was really cool. Like he's got a shield, and I got like Captain America toy or whatever for Christmas. And like as a kid, you're like, he's got a shield, duh, he's got to have a sword. So I made like a tinfoil sword for him. Like what a dumb little kid. But like it was fun. Captain America is a really great hero because I also just like, I really like America. I really like Stars and Stripes. Like there's no way to say that without sounding like a super like weird patriotic person. But I really enjoy it. I really like it a lot. I come from a small town where, you know, we're raised to do whatever. So Captain America really embodies the American spirit for me, and I learned right away that like hard work and determination is just the way to go. So like it's that aspect of Captain America that means a lot. And then, man, so much stuff. Like I don't want to blunder too bad, but also I'm like he dies there, and then he'll die over here, which is great. Like I like this guy has figured out like how to trap me, and I'm just like I like to move these pieces around. No, but seriously, Captain America, and he has wacky stories. So, but not like Batman, like covering Robin and Mustard to beat Green Lantern wacky stories, but just like really cool enemies. Like I like the Serpent Society, and like all of two people like the Serpent Society. And I'm like, I know what most of those snakes are because they're by my house, you know? And like that's really cool. I really like the Red Skull, you know, stuff like that. Like I've always liked Captain America, like villains. When I was a kid, I was really bummed. I'm like, that's just X-Men and Spider-Man on TV. Does Captain America have a show? No, he doesn't have a show. Sorry, little Calder. Had to learn that one the harsh way. So like, yeah, like Captain America has always been like my childhood superhero, just my favorite. And then kind of growing up with the Marvel movies as well. I'm on the younger side, so yeah, I grew up with them. It was like really cool to see that character like come to life and then like evolve over time, which was really awesome.
Is he a big Chris Evans fan then?
Besides him in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, I don't think I've seen any other Chris Evans movie besides him as Captain America or Ex-Boyfriend number 3 or whatever that was.
Yeah. Not the vegan?
Yeah.
The vegan boyfriend?
No, he was like, can you do a cool skate flip on that thing? He's like, yeah. Like, that was awesome. For sure. I don't know him.
No, I think that's spot on.
That's Jack.
Oh yeah, that's definitely Jack.
Yeah, that's.
You have one legal move.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I'm like, that's about it.
And you know, I think oh, jeez, Lucas, what do you? I think I just opened you back up into the game.
That was probably the one. Yeah.
But no, I think that's a spot on, you know, kind of representation or thought process on how a character like Captain America would work. You know, like you said, your podcast is typically geared a little bit more towards the casual player, and on the ROC where we're at right now, it's definitely something that's more competitive based. You have been traveling with us. You have been getting some play time in on the competitive sector, if you will. What has been? I mean, is that something you're enjoying? Is that something that you've had fun doing? Do you like playing competitive?
I'm loving it a lot. So the main reason I wanted to play HeroClix was because it was me doing stories with these little superheroes. So I did a lot of scenarios really early on. And in competitive, you can't exactly play a, you know, Captain America Paladin versus Mother Superior, you know, or whatever her name was. So, like, that's not competitive. But I did find out that I like to build around certain characters I like. So one of my first competitive teams ever was Lex Luthor. He's my favorite, or second favorite DC character. So I built around him, which was like the pseudo Lex Luthor 200-point call-in battery kind of thing.
Subterfuge.
The subterfuge one. Yeah. So like I really love that Lex Luthor for so long. So I decided like you can make the characters you enjoy competitive. WizKids isn't always gonna make a super crazy meta level whatever character that you love. Like I'm not the world's biggest like I read an Eternals comic and when they finally made Unimind, oh I knew there's like no, I don't know anyone who's like that. But you know, maybe. So like Captain America, when I wanted to play competitively, I was like, well, Sam Cap's like really obviously good after they changed how ID cards work. So I'm like, I want to start like playing her. So I did that. And then later on, they introduced like really cool teams, and I really enjoyed Scourge from Thor Ragnarok. So I'm like, well, let's try a Scourge team. That didn't work so hot. So it's like, all right, let's rethink that. I really like the soldier keyword. So I like building the way I still want to build without totally being like this is what's meta. Like, we got to play this, we got to play that. We got to figure out the perfect counter to this or that. The first step I like to do is figure out what characters can I make a solid team with that won't get like thrashed. Like, obviously, I can't just play 4 shifting focus Captain Americas on a team. It's not going to do well. It'd be hilarious, but it's not going to do well. So like figuring out Earth X Captain America, making a team with him. I don't know, it's not a team building show, sorry guys, but I like to just figure out what character do I like, and then what versions of them that exist in the game right now can I make a functioning team that I'm going to have fun with, that will do well, and then at the end of the day, we'll see how well it goes and see what needs to be tweaked. And so, yeah, that's pretty much how I look at the competitive side of things, is figuring out, like, I wanted to play, one of my favorite characters. So then I decided, let's try to build a team around whatever version is the best or so version that I can make for that team.
Sure. So when somebody like me comes in and says, no, this is garbage. What are you doing? Why are you playing that? What is your thought process on that?
Okay, Debbie Downer. I guess we can do that. No, really, my main thought process is like, well, first of all, let's listen to him. He has a few more wins than you do under his belt, so he's doing something right. So I need to take a step back and be like, look, Dupe is like super cool and he's awesome, but let's figure out how to make him better. It doesn't always mean running 5 or 4 or like whatever. Sometimes good things come in small packages. So whenever someone gives me advice, it's typically you, or maybe like one other person who I talk to competitively about it. I say, all right, they're probably right. They've been playing it longer. They practice a lot more than I do, that's for sure. So we just gotta think to myself, all right, so Lucas is probably right. Let's see how we can tweak that without totally losing like the essence that I wanted to have for the team. And that's normally what I do.
Sure. I'm trying to think about that rook move that you just made, and I'm not really sure how to reply to anything else right now.
Your head hurts. You're like, I don't like watching this guy play HeroClix. It's also like, what are you doing?
Why would he make such a rook move?
Ew.
The sound that you're hearing in the background is probably my roommate. My phone is very sensitive on the recorder. Not a big deal though. But no, I think that HeroClix as a game is something that you can do whatever you want, play it however you want, be the player that you want per se. More in any stretch of the imagination. I think that a lot of I'm protected with the rook, so you can't get there. Yeah, I think a lot of players get so blindsided by their drive to play competitively that they lose sight of, kind of like why they got into the game in the first place. Because like nobody gets into the game to play competitive, right? Like, I mean, there might be a couple, but most people start off as just like casual players, like casual Friday night, or collectors, or people who just want to play with their friends, and then they find these tournaments, and then they want to do good in these tournaments, so then they get better at playing, and they travel, and then suddenly, their local scene might have fizzled out, or they lose, a lot of the momentum there. Yeah, he can't move.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of players kind of fall into that rut, and myself included. Our local scene, I'm working really hard to rebuild it, but we're rebuilding it with competitive nature in mind, with a competitive HeroClix spirit in mind, and I think that a lot of people kind of miss out on a lot when you do that. But at the same time, I don't want the game to die again. I don't want my local scene to run out, and if it does run out, I still have the competitive to fall back on. I'm the kind of person who wants to see everybody succeed, wants to see everybody do well, and I think that it's really, really hard to do well when you don't know how. So for those of you who are maybe listening to this for the first time, I would highly recommend looking into the different podcasts that we support, and I would definitely obviously take a look at Mr. Dial H here, because that is a different outlook that you might not have seen on this wonderful game that we all know and love. We're getting to a point here where you are probably going to lose this game.
Oh, I'm not feeling like the world's most confident man here right now.
But I'm just trying to keep these, in all realism, I'm actually trying to keep these as short and sweet as I can, in order to just kind of give people something to listen to. So this is actually working out really well. I think I'll trap you here in just a minute.
Oh. Ouch.
But as far as like closing remarks and everything, is there anything else that like what is something you're looking forward to? I know you're coming to Gen Con with myself and Isaac Denke. What kind of things are you looking forward to coming up here?
I'm really looking forward to Gen Con, Worlds, any big Clicks events, despite the fact I don't play in any of the main events, apparently, as it seems, at least by my track record. But I'm really excited for stuff like that. I love going to normal cosplay conventions anyways, and Gen Con beautifully merges cosplay and HeroClix. Two loves you wouldn't think a boy from the country would have. So I really enjoy going to events like that. I'm excited for upcoming sets. Like WWE is going to be awesome for me. No one, I mean, sure you won't like it.
Shut up.
I'm gonna yell so loud. Well, I'm not gonna yell too loud. Lord knows we yell enough in there. But yeah, I'm gonna try to keep it. There are gonna be some oh yeahs being thrown around. I can't promise anything. But so yeah, like the future of WWE. HeroClix, Captain America set, I'm like over the moon for. I'm excited for Justice League Unlimited. I don't want anyone to get confused. Like, I watched a little bit of that show. I'm just more interested to see like what they do. So, big HeroClix events, Justice League Unlimited, Captain America. I'm over the moon about Captain America set. I'm like way too hyped than I should be. Gen Con, I love traveling with you guys. Like, it's always a fun time. If you would have told me like 16 something hour road trips would be anything but me looking at my phone and being bored out of my mind, I wouldn't have believed you. But I always have a great time with you guys when we're in the car. We always make it fun. We play Bad Sam or whatever, which is always great. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm really excited for Gen Con. I honestly can't tell you how excited I am, because I'm getting HeroClix teams ready. I'm also getting cosplay ready, and like that stuff's just this whole like making it, doing our best kind of thing mode right now.
Sure.
So yeah, no, anything I can put my mind to, cosplay, HeroClix, getting stuff ready, formulating all the figures, I could name like 50 figures right now they should put in the Captain America set, and like maybe 10 of those are gonna get in it, So like I get excited easily for things. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, I'm over the moon about a lot of stuff coming up.
Well, Calder, thank you for being on here tonight. Thank you for taking the time to stop by. I know you're in town, so that was good. As I checkmate you here on the board.
Bring it to a close.
Let's. Where can people find you? Where is Dial H located on there, on the podcast world?
So Dial H for HeroClix is available on iTunes and Podbean. We also upload it on YouTube about a day later after you record. I was throwing some episodes up on SoundCloud for a little bit. Don't worry about that anymore. But yeah, we upload super regularly. By Sunday night, there's going to be an episode on iTunes, and it'll be downloaded for your Monday morning commute or whatever. If you listen to on Podbean, same thing. It's there. YouTube, if you're one of those people that likes to sit down and watch YouTube videos for a really, really, really long time, or something to have in the background as you like mute a video game or something, we're on YouTube. Check us out. We're also on Twitter and Facebook. We throw out some pretty dank memes. People just cringed really hard when I said that. We do like to do that on social media. We like to have a Community Tuesdays question, which like kind of gets the community going. We'll normally ask something along the lines of, what are you going to miss in rotation? And that'll kind of be a pseudo topic for the episode. Well, we also get to hear the community's opinions on it. So yeah. Sure.
Well, thank you for being on. You can all find the information for Dial H for HeroClix in the description below. And until next time, thank you all very much, and don't you dare roll a crit miss. Thank you, sir.
Yes,
appreciate
absolutely.
it.
Absolutely.